all you need to know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business.
Good morning and happy Friday to you. This is the daily morning update from Bloomberg Quint and I'm Alex Matthew. Today is the 18th of September. First up, it's important that you continue to remain vigilant, maintain hygiene and social distancing because the COVID-19 pandemic doesn't seem to have peaked yet here in India. The country now has over 10 lakh active cases, with nearly 98,000 fresh cases having been added in the 24 hours to 8 a.m. yesterday. That's the highest single-day spike in infections recorded by any country. The previous record was also held by India. Stay safe. Moving on. The government won't make expenditure projections for the next 2 years because of what it calls a non-robust GDP estimate. It maintains that growth assumptions are needed to make a meaningful spending forecast. So, the government won't table its medium-term expenditure statement, which it is mandated to do as part of the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act of 2003 that would contain projections for financial years 2021-22 and 2022-23. The government has to lay the medium-term expenditure framework in the Parliament in the session followed by the budget session. But the Finance Ministry in its report has said that it is not possible to obtain reliable projections of GDP growth due to the continuing impact of COVID-19 outbreak on the Indian economy. In the other top news, Union Minister Harsimrat Kaur Badal has resigned from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's cabinet in protest against the 3 farm bills that have been tabled by the centre in Parliament. The Shiromani Akali Dal, which is the oldest ally of the Bharatiya Janata Party and the party to which Badal belongs, is voicing its opposition to the 3 farm bills that seek to remove restrictions on marketing farm products and which aim to allow cultivators to engage with private companies to sell their crops. Badal's party has said that it is against the bills as farmers are afraid that this would eventually lead to the government removing its minimum support prices or minimum price guarantees. There's a major update in the defense space. The government has permitted foreign direct investment of up to 74% under the automatic route in defense sector with a view to attracting overseas investors. However, foreign investors in the defense sector would be subject to scrutiny on the grounds of national security, and the government reserves the right to review any investments in the sector that affects or may affect national security, according to the press note that was sent out by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. There's a procedural change being introduced by the Securities and Exchange Board of India in the mutual fund space. It's simple. Starting next year, mutual fund investors will be allotted units of schemes on the basis of the net asset value on the day the asset management company receives funds rather than on the day that the order is placed. Now, in international news, the Bank of England yesterday gave the clearest signal yet that it may consider cutting interest rates below zero for the first time in its history as the economy faces a surge in COVID-19 infections and the risk of a no-deal Brexit is also faced. With multiple threats to the outlook looming, the BOE will begin structured engagement with the UK bank regulators on how it might implement negative rates. The comments in the minutes of Thursday's policy decision prompted money market traders to bet that the next 10 basis points of easing will come in February, with another cut of the same magnitude to follow after the summer. Bloomberg has reported that the US Treasury Department, TikTok owner ByteDance and Oracle have tentatively agreed to terms for Oracle's bid for the US operations of the social media service. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin sent ByteDance a revised term sheet late on Wednesday, and the company and Oracle have apparently accepted it, according to Bloomberg's report. In international markets, US stocks dropped. The Dow and the S&P 500 fell 0.5 and 0.8% respectively, while the Nasdaq declined 1.3%. And equities in the Asia-Pacific region have started the day mixed, but little changed. And now for the latest on the Indian markets, here's Hormuz Fatakia. Good morning, Hormuz. How are we looking at the end of the week?
Good morning to you, Alex, and to our listeners as well. The final trading day of the week is usually the most action-packed one, and today is likely to be no different. A sector that has been in action in the recent past is pharma, and it is likely to be in focus today as well. Dr. Reddy's Laboratories has announced the settlement of their litigation with Celgene pertaining to the Revlimid capsules. Celgene has agreed to provide Dr. Reddy's with the license to sell limited volumes of the capsules in the US starting March 2022. The company is also now licensed to sell the capsule without volume limitations starting 31st of January 2026. The stock has gained 10% in the last 3 days of trade. From pharma to autos now, and TVS Motor has announced its new distribution partnership in Colombia. The entity will operate 50 dealerships exclusive to TVS Motor and create dedicated space for the brand in over 600 retail outlets. The board of EIH has set the rights issue price at 65 rupees a share, which is nearly 25% discount to Thursday's closing price. The rights entitlement ratio has been set at 8 shares for every 85 shares held, and the record date for the same has been set as the 23rd of September. After winning a 1,600 crore order in Australia a couple of weeks ago, Sterling and Wilson Solar has signed a solar power project in Chile worth 462 crore rupees. The work on the same will begin from the fourth quarter of FY21. Bloomberg News reports that Blackstone Group's entity Epsilon Bico is planning to sell up to 23% stake or nearly 7.3 crore shares in SL Propack. The floor price of 255 rupees a share is a 6.5% discount to Thursday's closing price. The stake proposed to be sold is valued at 1,850 crore rupees and will bring the promoter stake in the company down to 51.99% from the earlier 74.99%. Watch out for Elantas Beck as the company has signed an MOU with Talegaon Industrial Parks to acquire land in Pune to set up a new greenfield facility. How can we not mention Happiest Minds Technologies when we talk about the stocks that were buzzing on Thursday? The stock had a stellar debut on the bourses, ending with gains of 123%. You heard that right, 123%, and ending at 370 rupees a share as compared to its issue price of 166 rupees. JB Chemicals was the other stock that bucked the trend on Thursday. The stock ended with gains of 10% at an all-time high and is up 35% in the last 6 trading sessions. And GMM Pfaudler is the one I would like to mention. The stock has ended 7% lower on Thursday and has declined nearly 25% from its all-time high of 6,900 rupees it made just last month. You can read about the meteoric rise of the stock on our website bloombergquint.com. Early ticks on the SGX Nifty indicate that the index is flat around the mark of 11,530. As of closing on Thursday, the Nifty and the Sensex are nearly flat, up by only 0.4% for the week. You can get more details on all of these stocks and a lot more in our All You Need to Know copy on bloombergquint.com. That's all from my side this week. I wish you a happier weekend ahead, and it's back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Hormuz. And as always, thank you all for listening in. That's all we have for you in this podcast, but as always, there's a lot more on the website bloombergquint.com, so don't forget to check it out. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great day and an even better weekend.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you can listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma, or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.